show. Adam, Jets quarterback Mike White had to go to the hospital after the loss to Buffalo. What do we know there?
They checked for internal injuries, and once he was cleared there, Laura, they allowed him to go home with the team last night. They are now saying that he's day-to-day with the rib injuries that he suffered on Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. Now, Mike White's going to want to play this week against the Detroit Lions. The question is whether the medical staff will allow him to do it. It's up in the air as of now. A decision will be reached later this week. And Russell Wilson was knocked unconscious on this play, was out. And because of that, he's now in concussion protocol. And typically, when you're knocked unconscious like this, you suffer a concussion and you're out. It's difficult to come back and play the next week. Would not be a surprise to see Russell Wilson miss the next game, but does want to come back and play beyond that. We saw a disturbing incident yesterday where Jerry Jeudy took off his helmet, charged at an official. There was no penalty called on this play, but I'm sure that Jerry Jeudy will be hearing and receiving a letter from the league office with some sort of fine. We'll see how that plays out this weekend. The big injury yesterday, of course, was the 49ers wide receiver Deebo Samuel going down on this play here where he fumbled the football, had to be carted off the field in visible distress. But it looks like right now he's still undergoing testing. The injury doesn't appear to be as serious as it looked yesterday when he was carted off. Kyle Shanahan said yesterday he thinks it's a high ankle sprain. I was told it's possibly could be back during the regular season, which is great news, but make no mistake about it. Right now, he's certainly poised to miss multiple weeks, but the question is how soon he can get back, and the testing that he's doing right now should tell the story there, Laura.
Yeah, good to hear. After you saw the severity of the injury, it looked a lot worse than hopefully it actually is. They have the Seahawks this week, the 49ers do. And let's talk about that game, Adam, as more from you throughout the show. They're taking on the Bucs, Tom Brady's Bucs. Of course, Tom Brady loved the 49ers as a kid. Started the second quarter. 49ers with second and goal from the 2. And Purdy can't find anyone open, so he says, you know what, I'm going to do it myself.
I just loved how fast the decision was made. No one's there. Second and goal, take off and go get a touchdown.
49ers extend their lead 14-0. Just over 5 minutes left in the half. And the Niners second and 9 for the Bucs 43. Deebo taking the handoff. He got tangled up and fumbled, and that was where the injury happened. Looked even worse right there. And he's holding his leg, as you just heard from Adam.
Be well.
He can return
Be okay. Come on.
All right, next 49ers possession, 22 seconds left in the half. First and 10 in Bucs territory. Purdy a dart to Brandon Ayuk for the TD.
I love the design. You kind of condense the split. You fake like you're going to run a curl. It's curl and go. Easy touchdown pass from Purdy.
Early third quarter, 49ers lead 28-0. Bucs facing 3rd and 5 in 49ers territory. Brady with the pressure he doesn't like. He unloads it, and it's intercepted by Tayshaun Gibson. Showing off the wheels. 36-yard
defense
return.
for San Francisco. They just do a great job at tying their rush and cover.
Here's more on Brock Purdy. He keeps performing for those Niners.
They believed in me, even though I was the last draft pick and all that kind of stuff. Like they've always been telling me, like, you're good enough and we know that you can do it. And so to see them after that performance meant a lot to me. And so very blessed to have them as my family.
In this league, you have to be very intelligent. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned playing in, my 6th year now. And for a rookie to come in and process this offense and do everything by the book, but then add his own flair to it is very impressive.
I had a lot of confidence in him, but obviously it's the NFL and you got to go perform, and he did that pretty darn good.
Honestly, who doesn't get chills with Brock Purdy's parents crying in the stands?
Yeah,
It's such a
cool.
good story. Absolutely
cool.
Love to see it. And Mina, we now have a game and a half of film on Purdy as a starter in the NFL. What is different about these 49ers offense with him under center?
You know, Laura, last week we were asking, can Brock Purdy approximate what Jimmy Garoppolo did in this offense? And now I feel comfortable asking the question, can he actually elevate it and do more? Which is wild, but what he did yesterday was wild. I mean, 2 things come to mind that differentiate him. Perhaps what McCaffrey was talking about when he said he added his flair to the game. One is the ability to extend plays with his legs. Of course, you saw the touchdown there. There was a throw, I think it was in the beginning of the second quarter, where he sidesteps Tryon Shoyinka and then finds Deebo Samuel. I've never seen Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't want to, bring his name into it, make that kind of play, but it is an added element to the offense. And then the other thing is he's using more of the field. So these are the 2 quarterbacks heat maps. Again, obviously a small sample size for Purdy, but you can see it right here. With Garoppolo, it's really all been about the middle of the field, of course, in the San Francisco offense, rarely attacking outside the numbers. Brock Purdy was using the whole football field, and that changes things so much for defenses, the way they play the Niners, knowing that not only they can use the middle of the field, but also stretch it in different ways. I got to say, I was blown away by what he did in this game and what he is capable of doing down the road.
I think what McCaffrey alluded to and what MK just said, the extension of plays. That's why they drafted Trey Lance. That's why a lot of people thought that this offense would take another step with Trey Lance coming in, just adding not only the extension of plays, but like Mina alluded to, but giving this offense another nuance beyond what the spin cycle you are already in, trying to defend what Kyle Shanahan is putting on just from a technique standpoint. So I look at this with Brock Purdy, and we all have talked about how quarterback friendly it is to play for San Francisco. But the fact that you can go beyond the X's and O's, and when the play call is not necessarily there, have the ability to extend, it makes them unguardable. I think that's why they drafted Trey Lance, and I think this is the element that Purdy is adding to make this offense even more dangerous than there already is.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it visually with that heat map. That heat map was hot.
We got one.
We got one. Well, we got two, but one was hotter than the other because it was Brock Purdy. All right, so Dan, Shanahan had a week to prepare a game plan with Purdy as the quarterback, unlike last week when he had to just kind of be thrown in there. What did you make of the offensive game plan?
This was the best run game plan, both in design and creativity and execution that they've had all year. And that's really interesting because you're trying to temper your expectation. Like you see, that's McCaffrey at the bottom of the screen. There's Debo playing tailback. So just like the flip of the personnel there is so good. This time it's back to McCaffrey. They condense the split, and they have Kittle condensing down. Now they've got two pullers, and this is midline essentially. So like all the different run games that they did, a run game design they did, it was the best when it came to their numbers gain use. You guys have heard me talk about that. I haven't really seen that this year from the run game when it comes to gaining the numbers. They haven't used a ton of motion in their run game this year. The backside of their run game was so much better yesterday, Trent Williams specifically, than it has been all year. So I'm trying to temper the expectations, and I wanted to touch real quickly on something that MK hit on, because she was talking about all the different things that the offense is doing in the pass game, and it kind of intimates to what McCaffrey's sound was. There's so much that goes into the quarterbacks having to understand in this offense. Well, Kittle's here one play, here the next play, here the next play. McCaffrey's here as a receiver, then a tailback. Like that takes so much intellectual ability to handle. That's still the most impressive thing that I've seen from him, is handling that.
Yeah, big brain Brock. They have the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday, so a short week. Okay, we're just getting started here on NFL Live. I did it. The Jets defense gave the Bills all they can handle on Sunday. Could there be a round 3 in the future between these teams? Well, we'd love to see it. Dan will weigh in. Plus, it was an ugly start in Dallas, but somehow the Cowboys avoided taking a loss. Could the losses on the field, though, start to add up down the stretch? We'll discuss that for those Cowboys and so much more. Keep it locked right here on Monday.